So I'll go ahead and call roll then.
Okay.
So Commissioner Kiramitsu is not here. Commissioner Wong?
Here.
Commissioner Burke?
Here.
Commissioner Andres?
Here.
And Mayor Cacciari.
Here.
Awesome. So I'd like to go over the approval of the agenda. Do I have anybody making a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll motion to approve the agenda.
Anybody second?
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, same. Thank you. The next item is the public comments and suggestions. So do we, Margaret, have any public comments?
No, I haven't received any written public comments, and I don't see anyone with their hand raised or any additional attendees on the Zoom call right now.
Okay. In that case, we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is communications, and we'll start with you, Margaret, City Council Liaison.
Oh, no, the mayor.
Mayor, sorry. COVID.
I'm always getting demoted.
No. Mayor Cacciari, do you have any communications?
Yes, just I'll go quick. So just the city council's had several special meetings, one on the capital improvement projects for the city, whether it's parks, recreation, roads, buildings, etc. We've also examined that we had a sale of the, if you recall, the cell tower lease. We got revenue from that, $4.3 million. And we looked at that and we got a recommendation from the Finance Commission to buy down some of our CalPERS liabilities. What we did, we discussed that. And then about 15 years ago, I made a motion to put aside $1 million for as retirement benefits and medical. We're escalating at every level of government. I put aside, recommended $1 million, council went along with it. So now we took that 1 million out of there. We're going to put it with 4.3 and put 5 million to buy down our liabilities with CalPERS and also OPEB, other post-employment benefits like medical. That'll come back to the council for final approval. Margaret may talk about tonight, we're going to analyze the commissions at the end of February, just to examine, are they working effectively? Should we combine any? Should we not? And when I was looking at the list, just our local committees like yourself, we've got Animal Commission, Cultural Heritage, Design, etc., Public Arts, Public Safety. I'll be talking, I have to leave early tonight to talk at the 4th of July committee at 7. We've got a total of those are 16, and there's all these ad hoc committees, 8. And then when you got regional committees like I'll sit on or talk about tonight, or John sits on, all of us sit on something. There's 11 of those that we're assigned to. And then there's 4 other committees. 2 of them I'm elected to. That's the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, the South Coast AQMD. And we all need staff support for this. So we're going to look at how we can economize those if we can, but still get the great public participation of experts like yourselves. So that'll be late February if you want to comment on that. Public Works, let's see. I'm doing a couple new things this year. We're bringing back. We're going to do the Merchants Minute again. If you saw last meeting, we had kids jewelry heist there. We're going to do that every other month or every month. Really support our merchants and get them a chance to talk or film them. We're also going to bring back the Pasadena Humane Society Adopt a Pet. So I'll be coming back soon too. And starting next month, we're going to do a different department each month, so you get to learn who works for the city. We started yesterday. I went with Mary and Jurian, and we interviewed Public Works, their streets, sewers, their staff, their buildings, their parks. So you're going to meet all people, who they are, their names and what they've done, how long they worked for the city, and get to know our staff. The great people work for our staff. I spoke at the CARB meeting last week, California Air Resources Board, to encourage them to drop that $30 million sooner than later to all the cities for replacing gas-powered leaf blowers, lawnmowers and stuff. Takes them like 9 months for rulemaking. I've asked them and begged them to do it sooner. They did indicate they've been spying on South Pasadena, all the great things we're doing down here, and they knew what we're doing. I was in the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy meeting Monday night for 3 hours, representing us. And I had to stay to the end because I wanted to vote. We got $1 million set aside for Pasadena, just north of our boundaries, for the Arroyo Restoration Project. You know, if you ever walk on that trail, I see on
Beautiful. It's really coming along.
But in some of it, there's some of the trail though, you know, the water's kind of washed it out. So we got an extra $1 million from the Conservancy, from the state, to put towards that project by Pasadena. So that's going to be great. Let's see, 2016, if there's any other thing. Oh, at the AQMD board, again, representing you, we're working with the ports now that we try to work with them over 3 years to try to get them to reduce the pollution. That's really the largest source of pollution, all the heavy duty trucks coming in, the ships coming in, docking there, the large cargo equipment, diesel, and just really impacts Long Beach the most. But with meteorological conditions, actually, it's cleaner in San Bernardino and Riverside the last several months because all the pollution from south and east blows to us now. So if you check the air quality index the last several months, it'd be interesting. They've had much better air quality than us, 9 out of 10 days. And that's really sad. It used to be we blow our pollution over there. Now it's blowing back over here. So interesting things. And finally, I'm going to make a presentation tonight to the 4th of July committee. I wanted to add a couple of things to our event, and this may interest you. I was inspired by a trip. I think I mentioned to Jeff. I went to Philadelphia this year in the summer, took the train up there. And I stopped at the recently opened Museum of American Revolution. And it's a really great new museum right by Independence Hall. And everybody goes there. You can spend days there. Partially funded by one of the Indian tribes that was actually kicked out of New York and had nothing left. And then the federal government came back and actually gave them a lot of their property back. So casinos, great exhibit, and it tells the whole story of what really happened during the American Revolution from a perspective of whether it was the Indians that supported us, those that didn't, the African Americans and their perspective, who should they join. Great artwork, paintings and things like that, the involvement of the French and Spanish and Dutch on our side. It was real World War. So I was going to say, if we could add something, and I've talked to Lisa and Jim Reynolds about, and Jim and Lisa are excited about doing some acts, whether it's at Fremont Center Theater or at Rialto or in the park. They've had some great movies there I'd like to buy and purchase for us to show about the whole picture, and then also show what was happening in California in 1776. So that's it. Thank you, Ms. Chair.
Thank you, Mayor, for all those updates. They're keeping you really, really busy. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do see that Noah has joined us, and I do see that there are 2 additional attendees. I'm not sure if they want to provide public comment. If you do, please raise your hand via Zoom. So I do see that Noah would like to speak. So if you'd like, we can go back to public comment.
That'd be great. Yes, please do.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Noah.
Okay, sorry. I just joined at like 6:33 and I was about to email you, Margaret, but thank you for noticing. So hi, Public Art Commission. I know I'm here on behalf of the Anti-Bias Club, and I know we've presented to you all 5 times now. So I'm here again to thank you for supporting the mural thus far and really sort of update you on where we're at. We've been meeting with a lot of different groups in South Pasadena, such as the PTSA of the high school, Spark, and really just trying to get more public support for this project. And we're sort of hitting a bit of a roadblock right now with the city and trying to meet with them to discuss the contract for this project. So I just say we'd really appreciate, if you can sort of use your position to urge the city to, meet with us and, really prioritize the rights of the artists, because looking at past contracts that Spark has done for public art, such as the Utility Boxes project in 2018, their contract split maintenance between the city and the artist, but in the contract we were served by the city attorney, our maintenance would be solely on us. Which just is not, that's a double standard, to be frank. Like, that's not something that's happened in the past. And also, as far as cleaning up graffiti, the Utility Boxes project was granted 30 days of like a window to clean that up. But in our contract, it only said 3 days. And if that was not met, that was grounds to terminate the contract, and the city would be able to basically take down the mural. So it just feels like there's a bit of a double standard for our project. And so anything that you all can do to sort of call attention to that and uphold like public art standards, especially rights for the artist, Zach. And he's been great through all of this. And I don't know, I just want to kind of keep you informed of what's going on, and hopefully, you can help us can push this project closer to happening. So I know you can't really respond now, but just, yeah, I'm happy to be reached out after for more questions, but that's just what's happening with the mural. And again, thank you all for your support.
Thank you, Noah, for being here. Can we respond to Noah here, or are we just listening to all public comments right now?
It's really just to listen to public comment. If it's not on the agenda, we can't really discuss it.
Okay, thank you, Noah.
Thank you for hearing me.
Yeah, thank you, Noah, for giving us the heads up.
And then just one more check-in with the 2 additional attendees to see if they want to provide public comment. If so, if you could use the raise hand feature, it should be on the bottom of your screen. Okay. So it doesn't look like anyone else has raised their hand at the moment. So if you want to continue to item number 2, Commissioner Communications.
So is there anybody, any commissioner here present who would like to share any communications?
Not I.
I do have one, and it's related to Noah being here, actually, because I'm on the ad hoc committee for the BLM mural, and I share in his frustration that all the public art that we've had so far, like the utility boxes, the K-rails, and this does not include public art on private property. This is city property, right? They've never had to go through everything that the Anti-Bias Club had to go through. Multiple presentations, creating a website, everything that we gave them, every roadblock that they came across, they've met the challenge. And this segues into Commissioner Burke, the work in terms of making us an artist-friendly city. This is not an artist-friendly city. I've never heard of any public art project having to go in front of a city council for approval. We, as a commission, already gave our approval. So I feel like it's really unfair, and like Noah said, a double standard for them to go through all this. They've been working on this since 2020, and Noah and all the high school students who've been working so hard on this, they're about to graduate. And I would like to see this, happen for them before they graduate. So this is my communication. So nobody wants to say anything. If we can put this on the agenda next month, I would love that.
That would be the appropriate thing to do, I think. I don't think discussing it now is something that we really can do.
Okay, so I just communicated. All right. Number 3, Margaret, do you have any staff liaison communication?
No, I don't have any updates right now. Thank you.
Okay, then that concludes the communications agenda. The next thing is action discussion. So number 4, the 1316 Linden Street, South Pasadena Christian Church Mural Project recommendation.
Yes, so I do see that we have Bob and Timothy on Zoom as well. So I'm going to go ahead and allow them to speak. Let's see, hold on one second. I also will do a quick share screen to present the project to you. Hold on one second.
Madam Chair, if I could have just a moment. I know that we have a presentation ready to go and that we have people here for this. As a point of order, I think it would be worth pointing out that as far as I understand it, this project is not in any way associated with a development project, is it? It is only in front of us because they asked to come in front of us. But as far as I'm concerned, and maybe Mayor, you can comment on this if you know otherwise, but I do not believe that there is an ordinance in South Pasadena that prohibits mural art on private property so long as it's not commercial. If that is in fact the case, I believe that this project is allowed by right, and that it's wonderful that they come before us as a courtesy to present this project, but I don't believe that this is within our purview as far as the mural point is concerned. I did see, however, that they mentioned something about a 5-foot high logo, and I believe that is another matter. That is something that would be considered under signage ordinances. But as far as the mural itself is concerned, I don't know that we necessarily need to give a recommendation or have any input at all. As I say, I think this is beyond our purview, but that's my comment before the presentation's made.
Yeah, I also agree. They do not need our approval, but I do want to reciprocate their courtesy to show it to us and the time that they spent to make this presentation. I think that they're doing something that's community considerate. So I'm happy to sit here and watch the presentation. But thank you, Commissioner Burke, for bringing that up.
As am I. Thank you.
Okay, so just to present the project to you really quickly, it will be located at 1316 Linden Street, which is South Pasadena Christian Church. So this is an image of what the mural will look like. And Bob or Tim, if you guys want to share a little bit more about how you guys came up with the concept or what's depicted, I think that would be great.
Well, thank you, first of all, for taking the time to listen to us. And I appreciate what Mr. Burke said, Commissioner Burke said. Yes, we're doing this because we just didn't want to go around protocol. And we know it's private property. As far as the logo goes, we're not doing that right now because we thought it might be signage, but we weren't sure. So we just put it in the application. We know it's a different process. But I don't know if you've seen the side of our building. It's been there for over 60 years. Our church was started, there it is, in 1906. In fact, we were in the Opera House back on Center Street, which is El Centro. But in any case, land was donated to us by Mr. Graham. Mr. Alexander Graham back in 1907. And we donated the land to the city, and we took the proceeds and bought this property you're looking at right now. In fact, we used to have a bungalow, and this building was built later. But in any case, we just think that our church is really located on Linden, the front of the church. But we've had this blank wall here for so long, and we just thought it might be give us a little more visual identity to ourselves as a community church. We're hoping that the mural is aesthetically pleasing and that it represents, a visual, a positive spiritual message that our church is trying to aspire to, which is, harmony, racial harmony, and diversity. So we thought about this, and the reason this came about actually is we had an interview by the South Pasadena Weekly News. He was interviewing our pastor, Daryl Haley. And in the interview and in the article, he mentioned something about a mural. We don't have a mural. It was by accident. So I said to the pastor, you know what, that'd be a great idea, because that wall is just so blank and pretty ugly, just sitting there in white. And so that's where we got thinking, if we came up with the right image, and this is what we came up with. It was voted on by our church membership. They loved it. So we said, okay, but let's go through the city to make sure we're abiding by anything that's necessary to get approved, because we don't want to put something up that's, not going to be something that the city would welcome. So it's our desire to have this done. Tim, who's on speaker 2, I think, is the artist. He's a member of our church. He's donating his time. We'll, of course, provide the supplies and whatever is needed to get this done. Tim, would you like to say anything?
No, Bob, you go ahead. You're doing great. Yeah.
Okay, Tim's he's a shy artist, but he's very talented, and he's the one that did the sketch. Of course, you can see there's no color yet, but we intend, I don't know if Margaret has a picture of it, to have lights, see along the grass there. We actually have lights already in there we're not using. We'll reposition them and relocate them. But we think at night this would be a good visual appealing thing to drive by, and hopefully doesn't offend anyone. We're hoping it doesn't. So we're really in front of you today, and we're so grateful you taking the time to show this, Margaret, to all the commissioners and the mayor. But we think it's time for us to, kind of spruce up our building, we've been doing a lot of renovations lately. We fixed up the front, the parking lot. We've been doing a lot. Those windows above the mural, I don't know if you see that. We intend to make that a little more appealing. We'll stained glass windows or something that looks like stained glass. But the whole effect is we want something that really identifies ourselves as a community church. And we've been with, like I said, the city of South Pasadena since 1906. So we don't think we're doing something that's just real rash or something that the people don't know we're not there or something like that. We feel that this would be a great way to enhance our visual appeal. And we really appreciate the fact that you would consider letting us do this. We think Tim, if you want to speak, you can, but Tim will probably work on this on weekends because he has a day job too. And it might take, how long, Tim, do you think it might take?
Yeah, because it's, because I'm working, my hourly schedule is very tight. So I think I was hoping that I can donate. The last mural I did, it took about a week or so to do, but it was intensive every day. And this one, I don't know if you guys have any mandate on time it needs to be done or completed. But I was hoping at least that I could have at least about a couple months in order to finish it. Yeah, that's where my time is kind of tight. Yeah.
Tim, I don't know if they heard you. I think you were broken up. I don't know if
Oh.
everyone heard you.
Sorry. Did nobody hear me?
Yeah, it was kind of broken, your speech.
Oh. I don't, maybe my reception is not very good here.
Okay.
You want to speak for me, Bob?
Well, I'll just reiterate that Tim
Yeah.
needs time. He'll probably work on this on the weekends. We'll probably put an awning over it or something to cover it until we're completed. But everything's on church property, as Commissioner Burke mentioned. And we're just hoping that we're excited actually at our church for this. This is really something everyone is getting behind, and it's been in the works for a year now, putting it together and finding the right people and the right time to do this. Again, we're very thankful that all of you are willing to let us present this. And if we can get started, we'd get started right away once we get approval. And again, we do not intend to do the logo unless we go through the right application process. But this is the main thing we want as far as putting on our building. I don't know if anyone has any questions, but.
Thank you, Bob and Tim. And I have a couple more slides to share. So
Okay.
just so let me just go back really quickly so I can share. This is the photo simulation of the mural as Bob and Tim presented. And then the next photo is kind of a visual simulation of what it would look like at night with the lighting that they have in place currently. And then I also have a few examples of previous work that Tim has worked on, other mural projects that he's done. And so that's it in terms of the presentation, but as Commissioner Burke identified, this is on private property and therefore we don't necessarily have purview over what is being proposed, but it was a courtesy item that they took to the commission for review. And so there is really no formal action that the commission has to take, but if you have any feedback or comments, that would probably be appreciated.
Well, thank you, Bob and Tim, for the presentation. And I really love how it's community focused in terms of like, Tim, you're part of the a member of the church, and that you had the church members vote on it. So, you know, best of luck in producing this mural for your church.
Thank you.
Well, those are really welcome words. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it looks like it's going to be a great project, and I live right near there. In fact, I have voted at your church many times back when there were polling places there. And I look forward to seeing that mural. I think it looks like a great project, and it will be a valuable addition to the art inventory that we have of our city.
Really appreciate that. Thank you so much for saying that. And I just wondered if we, is there an approval, or we can just get going when we're ready? Is that what you're basically saying, or?
Yes.
Do your thing, man.
All
All
right.
up to you.
Thumbs up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners and Mayor and Margaret. And I know there's a lady named Joan. We worked with her when we first brought this up. I don't know if she's around, but thank her for us as well. And if you don't need us anymore, you can just cut us out.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Timothy.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Thank
Great. Have a good night.
Good night.
Okay, awesome. So the next thing on our agenda is the public art projects exhibits selection. So I hope you all had a moment to review. We had 8 proposals. So it's recommended that the commission review the 8 proposals and make a recommendation to the city manager for the 3 public art projects and exhibits on city-owned properties. So Margaret, is there a certain rubric we have to follow, or can we just start discussing? Is there?
So there is a rubric that was included in our request for proposals. So I guess the scoring is 50% of it should be based off of their the quality of their past projects, 30% should be based on their requested scope of work, 15% based off of their cost estimates, and then 5% based on the references that they provided.
So did everybody have the opportunity to go over the proposals and kind of rate on your own? Commissioner Andres, you kind of had your hand up.
You're muted.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry. So it's 50% on past projects, 30% on, I didn't catch that second one.
The project that they're proposing, basically.
Oh, project. Okay.
Commissioner Wong?
I was able to look at all of them, but I did not score them. So my apologies for not doing that. I didn't know actually we're supposed to come prepared with scores, or do we do that right now? But I have looked at them.
You can do it now.
Okay.
Commissioner Burke?
Before we get into the specifics of the proposals, I see here that there is on page, whatever that is, it says page 5, I think it's page 21 of our PDF, agreement provisions, and it says that there will be an agreement and it will include these things. But I'm assuming that because it says there will be an agreement, that means that we do not have an agreement now. Is that correct, Margaret?
That's correct. So depending on the
Okay.
type of project and based off of the feedback from the commissioners, there should be different types of agreements depending on what is being proposed. If it was going to be an artwork versus if it was going to be a performance. I believe during the last commission meeting, we discussed it and the commissioners expressed interest in having different types of agreements for each type of project. And so
Did we actually? I don't recall that. I recall that we wanted to have a service, what was it called? A service agreement. You know, the specific media that is being used in the proposal. You know, I mean, I think that can be addressed in a universal service agreement, but I think the idea was that what we were looking at previously was something that was specifically written for the Black Lives Matter mural, and it was not a service agreement. And I think that what we're looking for now is simply a service agreement. And if we did discuss it, then that escapes my memory. But as I understand it, what we just need is a basic, a universal service agreement that would work with artists. That is artist friendly, but it should cover any media. Am I mistaken? I don't think I am. So I think that what we would like to see would be a simple service agreement that should cover whatever media are going to be used, but that allows, but is specific to this commission and city council hiring out art and having the art being placed on public property. I think that if we have one agreement that covers various media, I think that should be what we need. And, you know, we were hoping to, I know the city attorney again is very busy, and I see that our mayor has left us. But I am hoping that we will have something soon that we can look at, that we can feel proud about presenting to the artists who have proposed projects for our city.
I totally agree. And we shouldn't burden artists with 100-page liability-filled contracts. So the sooner the better.
Okay, I'll follow up on that.
Thank you.
So I propose we maybe look at the $10,000 budget proposals and then the $7,500 proposals.
And I just want to confirm that our budget is 25,000, right? So that could include, you know, two $10,000 proposals or one $10,000 and two $7,500 proposals, right? No, be a certain.
And again, commissioners, please, if I'm mistaken, I think we agreed that one $10,000
Okay.
proposal and two $7,500 proposals.
That's how I understood it. Yeah.
So is it okay if we proceed that way? We start with the 10,000. We only had 3 proposals for that one. Is there anybody who want to start that discussion? You want to give me maybe your top choice for the $10,000 proposal?
I also have the proposals available. If you guys want me to share screen for any of them, let me know.
Okay.
I do have a question that, like, I know we're looking for one 10,000 and two 75s. You know, before going over this, let's say like the top 3 are the $10,000 ones. Could we go back to the artist saying, hey, could you cut something, cut the budget, or is that just kind of messing things up too much?
You know, I mean, the simplest thing to do would be to find a single 10,000 and two 7,500s that we like.
Okay.
You know, if we want to change it around, I mean, I suppose we could, but you know, the way I understood it was we were doing a single 10 and then two 75s. And if we can make that work, then we could make that work, it'd be done. Okay,
well, let's try it. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, do you feel like the 3 $10,000 proposals are the ones that you would want?
You know, I 2 of my favorite, I think, projects were in the 10,000 range. So I'm like, oh, I only could pick one of them, you know, so that's why I asked. But I think I'm fine with the parameters. I think it'll get too messy, as I suggested, if we start trying to think of alternatives. But, you know, why don't we start with that? And then if we can't come to, you know, a decision, then we could think about some alternatives.
Sounds good. Well, I can start. My top was Deborah Osheim's piece, Vecinos, because I think it's very thoughtful how she wants to engage with residents and community members in South Pasadena by interviewing, but also this idea of diversity and equity and inclusion. And it's semi-permanent, it's on aluminum. So I like that idea that's not just like on posters and vinyl, that even though it's a very modest budget and it's not permanent, but there's a sense of like substantial quality to the work. And she's very experienced. I mean, if you look at her CV, I know she will get it done. You know what I mean?
And her past work was excellent. That's another plus for her. She was also my top pick for certainly for the $10,000 works. I thought it was an excellent proposal, thoughtful, well-written, you know, and a really, really interesting idea. I think the community would love it.
I'm also, and I don't know if this is, if we should discuss this, and stop me if I shouldn't, but I am quite familiar with her work. I have not worked with her in any professional level before, but I do know, to echo what Fang was saying, that she has the history, she has the work experience, she has a reputation, that I could see her executing this project no problem. And she does, she engages, she has sincere engagement with the communities that she works with. And I could I could speak to that, being quite familiar with her work. So I do believe that not only is her prior history of work strong, her proposal is, it's within what she's used to doing too, of these portraits. She's been working on them for quite some time. And this is definitely a high rated project that I would also like to support.
I have to say that I also thought that that was the best of the $10,000 submissions. I did. And I would not, the other submissions were fine, and I think they looked really good. I thought that the sculpture of the metal hexagon, it was interesting. I don't know that it necessarily spoke to South Pasadena the way some of these others did. And you have to love the tree dance, okay, with the little tree tutus on the thing. It makes you smile when you just think of it. It kind of does. But I'd have to say that I think I also thought that Ms. Ashheim's proposal was the one that caught my fancy. I should say, however, if I'm understanding it correctly, the material that she's going to use, that's Graphics, it is technically a metal based. I have used that. If it's the same stuff that I've printed on, it's, it's maybe better than vinyl, but it's essentially like vinyl. It just rubs down, and based on the 12-month estimate that I saw in there of their durability, it's probably not any better than vinyl. Because I know that the vinyl that we put on the K-rails for the alfresco thingy, they lasted nearly a year and they got pretty faded. They were not laminated. Lamination makes all the difference in the world. And I didn't see any lamination in her budget. I know they would last longer if they were laminated, but that's a matter for her to work out. But I did like that one as well.
Well, I'm so happy that this was a unanimous vote, first of all. Second of all, Commissioner Burke, I think we should ask if we can, if we all decide that she's going to get this, that we should bring it up as a concern. And, hopefully she can do it, because she did leave a budget for contingency. So maybe she can use the contingency to laminate it. I don't know if that would be enough.
Lamination usually ends up being more than that contingency. Lamination is almost again as much as the original material to have it printed, to have it laminated and trimmed. But maybe, maybe they can do something. I thought, look at if it's going to be up for a year, it's really important. I know that there was a number in the budget for deinstallation. I want to be sure that that's being taken really seriously, because it can be a pain in the butt to get that stuff off the buildings. I've not, I haven't done any large projects with that material specifically, but I know that with vinyl, it can be difficult sometimes. And I want to be sure that the artist is committed to taking this down at some point, whatever that we work out that point is.
Absolutely. So would you all feel comfortable for us to agree and recommend that she has that project, the 10K project?
I recommend that we take Ms. Ashheim's $10,000 project as her proposal, as our accepted proposal.
Awesome. Anybody second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Love you people. All right, so the second one is the $7,500 budget project. So we can either give our top picks or process of elimination. How do you all feel about this one?
I have some questions about a couple of them, and I'm wondering if we can get the artists aren't here with us, are they?
No.
Okay, I'm just wondering, so for instance, the walking path, that it says it's made out of plaster, is that right? It's ceramic tile, it says. So it is meant to be left outside, and it is durable and it is lasting. And I'm wondering, then there was also some talk about railings being next to those. And I'm wondering that could almost be like a permanent installation, except that there aren't concrete footings. Did you guys see that as a permanent installation, or how would that work?
That was actually one of my picks. 'Cause I really love
I mean, I like it, but I'm not sure I understand a lot of the detail about how long it would last or how sturdy those railings are going to be.
right. And those are questions that we really have to ask the artist. But I love that idea. Like it could be at a park and people, can walk on it and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, those are concerns. And I don't know if those are concerns are going to deter us from picking Mr. Eric Benjamin's South Pasadena reflexology walking path. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I'm just concerned about, I would like more clarity on the railings because, to have some durable, safe railings that won't fall if someone's trying to balance on it to create any liability for the city. I think that costs might be a little more cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
And I would like to make sure that that is well thought out before we would move to make a decision. And so that's, I think, Jeffrey brought up a good point is like, is there a point where we actually have to a chance to speak with these artists to ask these questions? Because this rated pretty high. And full disclosure, I've worked with Eric Benjamin's before, but that is a concern. I share that concern too.
Should we talk about?
I really liked that it was sculptural as well. I thought that was, a plus when I was kind of approaching this. I think placement of that is critical, honestly, and I can have concerns. Just thinking of my own elderly father that has peripheral neuropathy. He would benefit from this if he could sit there and rub his feet over it, but he could also trip and fall and it could be horrible, So I think working with the artist in terms of getting the placement right for this would be completely essential. And I'm sure this artist has experience with these very issues or has thought them through very carefully.
Well, it didn't sound like this was something that had ever been done in public. It had only been shown in a gallery setting. So I'm not sure how really fully worked out this whole project is. My own guesstimate on this would be for it to be a permanent project, it would probably cost more than what we have to offer. I'm just thinking because, if you want to put in a railing that's sturdy, you need a footing. And I don't think there was any consideration of that in the proposal.
I agree. So, like $7,500 is not enough to make something sturdy and ADA compliant, and kids won't hang from it and all that kind of stuff. So if you don't mind, that's a major consideration. So as we continue to talk about the others, maybe we can table that. Yes.
Okay.
When I first saw this, I was like, oh, this is just some artist, even though I know him and I like his work, but I'm like, this is just some artist appropriating these kind of these Asian, I see him a lot in China and Hong Kong. So I was kind of a little skeptical about it, but at the same time, if we're concerned about cost and production and know-how, I would think because these are quite common in Asia that potentially if things are outsourced, there is the know-how, at least. It's not him coming up with this completely new. So I do think that there are resources out there to potentially keep costs down if we were to look at how other cities have implemented these things.
Thank you, Commissioner Wong. Okay, were there any other favorites or any other pieces you really want to talk about?
I have to say, I love the City of Trees thing. I thought that was, I thought graphically it was very cool. It speaks to South Pasadena. It's very non-confrontational. And it does make you smile. That the biggest problem that I have with that is how is it going to be displayed? Because it sounds as though it's more of a book project than a public art project. And I mean, I really, in my heart, I love that. I thought it was great. I'm just questioning exactly, how this is going to work in terms of public art.
I thought it was as a poster. That's what I kind of understood, that it was even put in the windows of buildings. Did I read that right?
They identified posters, banners, and postcards, I believe.
I mean, it makes you smile.
Yeah, and I think we all have a sense of great pride of the trees, and I think that would be, well received and appreciated. Personally, I like this one as well.
Like we're an Arbor certified city or something like that, right? We are.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I love.
we're
Go ahead.
we're officially a tree city.
Okay. I love the idea, and I love this idea of us becoming more familiar with our trees, but for me somehow it's like a redundant iteration. It's like, then I want to see my tree. Why do I need to see a photograph of the tree? You know what I mean?
But I like the big tree at the library. It's something that we
Yeah.
all love, that we kind of as a community share appreciation for. I mean, I like that part of that aspect of it, or special trees around that I recognized. I liked that.
Thank you. Commissioner Wong, did you want to add to?
I didn't dislike the project. I think I share some of Jeffrey's, and maybe it was your concerns. It's just I don't see how, I see it more as a kind of, to be honest, an indoor gallery project or a book, not necessarily a public art project. But I can see it being a public art project, but it's not, because of that, it wasn't top of my list. So.
I agree. Like if it were beyond posters and postcards, maybe something more permanent and substantial. One of my favorites was Jody Zellen's Avenue S. This idea of public art pieces with a QR code that you can scan that will give you an animation. I'm interested in that, but I want to hear what you all think about that one. And she's also another artist with a lot of experience, well-known.
The biggest problem that I have with that one is that the image that you would see publicly is a QR code and not necessarily the thing on the screen. So it's another layer of effort that you have to go through in order to see the final product. I went to her website and I saw those cool zippy looking things that look like NFTs. And I know they were very nice and all. They were very nice. It's just, what we're going to be seeing if we do that would be QR codes everywhere. That's the first thing that you see. So for that reason, that really wasn't one of my first choices.
Could I add to that? I like that it was pushing the boundaries of how do we redefine and how do we think outside of the box when it comes to public art. So public art is a very kind of traditional idea of art in public. And I think she's really kind of blurring those boundaries, which I find fascinating with it. But then ultimately, I do see this, like the core of the project then is an online project, from what I understand. And so that I do have issues with that. I am, she is a well-respected artist in my book, and I'm familiar with, she has the same histories that I know she could execute this project, but I'm questioning the value of what she's proposed in terms of the needs for the city and our kind of scope of, creating a public art piece.
Thank you, Commissioner Wong.
Yeah. That said, I did think that this would be really, I think our young people in our community would really, really gravitate to this, and it would be kind of delightful, and the kind of hunt around, looking for QR codes, conjuring them. I thought that sense of discovery was kind of cool, and I really liked that, as well, of course, as, kind of, amplifying the whole idea of public art and what that is. So I did like that. And I thought it would reverberate with young people within our city, particularly well, who are really open to, crossing boundaries, and they're really interested and gravitate towards kind of digital, works. So that's something to kind of keep in mind, I think, as we think about this one.
Thank you, Commissioner Andres, very much. Anybody else had a favorite or another artist you want to bring up? I know, Commissioner Burke. I know.
All right, I know this is not
Pasadena, right?
No,
okay.
Actually, I know this is not going to be popular, and I'm sorry, but I have to say it anyway. Richard Tucci's ogre with the spilled ice cream thing. Okay, you know what? It's whatever, you can say whatever you want to say about it, but it brings a smile to your face, and it is something that people would notice and talk about. Just throwing that
Look
out
at
there.
our jaws
I
right
am
now,
just
Commissioner
throwing that out there. You know, he does not seem to have a real strong artist resume. He worked in the entertainment industry for a long time. That's fine. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. It looks like a fairly simple thing to execute. It all depends on whether you want a bubblegum pink ogre dropping an ice cream as, something that represents your city. I'm just throwing it out there. It caught my attention. I thought it was amusing. I smiled.
I can see that, but that's what deterred me, that we are not, he called it trolls, man, trolls. Like,
Is that what he called it?
So I'm like, nope, immediately, like, no. But I can appreciate how you responded to that.
Throwing it out there like a paper airplane, just throwing it out there.
Commissioner Wong, Commissioner Andres, are you seconding that motion?
For me, I was like, this would be perfect outside of like the Rite Aid, like the Thrifties, the old thrifty ice cream shop. And like, I mean, it wasn't one of my top picks, but there is a bit of whimsy going on in this. I have to acknowledge it, but I was also like, really, troll? But like, I was like, I don't really know how I'm like, that's self-pass, but maybe it is. I don't know.
I think troll is a rather unfortunate turn of phrase. Ogre would have been better. I think an ogre would have been. Trolling just has so many negative connotations to it,
I would have been more open to, what'd you say, ogres?
An ogre.
Yeah.
It's an ogre.
I would have been more open to that.
I'm sure it has a wart on its nose,
Commissioner Wong, what do you think?
Projects like these sometimes get me. Like sometimes I'm like, sometimes I do enjoy them, but at the same time, it's kind of a one-liner for me. And after the novelty of like, that's freaking cool, a silhouette of an ogre, if we want to call it that, or a troll with an ice cream. I'm like, yeah, that's funny. It puts a smile on my face. But if that was in my neighborhood and I had to see it like every other day, I'd be like, okay, I'm done with this. So I do understand the initial allure to it. It did make me smile too, but as at least a $7,500 project with serious consideration from our part, I think we're considering it now seriously and talking about what we like about it, but I have to say that I'm not too into this because it is for me, it's kind of like it's just a one-liner.
Thank you, Commissioner Wong. But thank you, Commissioner Burke, for bringing that.
I when it comes down to it, I may still vote for this. Okay, I'm just saying.
I will not hold that against you. Actually, I'd be like, that's cool. He stood for it.
Well, you know what? It's just that, I mean, the what you said, Stephen, was that it's a one-liner, and it is, okay, it is. But all art doesn't necessarily need to be meaningful or deep.
I agree.
I agree, and that brings me to a person that I would like. I actually like the I Heart South Pasadena project.
Okay.
For that reason, like it puts a smile. I know, right? But it can be quote unquote tongue in cheek, but we see the I love t-shirts, but the idea that she's going to have these hearts and gather from the community what they love about South Pasadena and then create this mural. But also if we're going with Deborah's Ashheim's Vecinos, it's kind of a nice pairing. And maybe that's something we can think about when we choose the $7,500 one, is how does that have a conversation or kind of relevant with the, Deborah's work as well. So I'm just putting it out there that I'm kind of into that.
I kind of felt the same way, actually. When I first looked at it, I was like, is this, kitschy? But then as I kind of read about it, that she was going to go around and talk to people within the community and find special things. And I'm trying to think about our community in South Pasadena. And I think that this could be something that, could reflect many different, points of view and the true diversity of different ideas of our community. And it's, I mean, ultimately it would be a mural, right? That's what I understand. Like this would actually be a physical mural. It would, you know, she would start it right. It would, I think I read this correctly, that she would have, it'd have different iterations and then it would become more of a kind of a permanent thing, right?
Right. And she lives in South Pasadena.
Yes, yes, and and like a real community thing, which
Yeah.
was appealing to me.
Yeah.
We do like that. I like that. Because I think we did say that we did give preference to South Pass artists, did we not?
We did.
And she's been a teacher with the SPEF program, which I like. So she knows the kids, you know, she has a real network within the community, which I like.
Thank you for bringing that up. I like that too.
I do like this social practice, the community engagement component. I just I thought this is a very stereotypical public art project. Graphically, it's engaging. It's, you know, it has the community participation. Overall, I think that would benefit the city, but for me, I just like, this is just so generic and it wasn't too like creative in terms of how to engage. It wasn't innovating too much. And so I get sometimes confused, and I'm just kind of just letting it all out there that that, you know, I think public art doesn't have to be the stereotypical public art. It can be work on various levels. But there's something to this that I think is just I think is so accessible. So right now I'm debating in my own head whether I like this or not. It is very accessible. I just don't think it's too innovative. So I'm torn. I think this would, in some cities and some kind of art circles, that this would just be the perfect kind of public art project. But for some reason, I want more from this piece. And if we're gonna pick Deborah, and because she's already working with, we'll be working with local residents. Maybe we steer away from, there's already one public practice, social practice piece. Maybe we should stay away from this. But I'm split. I could go either way. But that project did not top my $7,500 list.
I think it would be like nice, if we do choose this one to make, I mean, it makes honestly the kind of sculptural one more appealing to me, something that's more kind of formally interesting maybe, or has, is sculptural, or, as opposed to maybe then, the trees, the heart South Pass, and then the imagery, the vecinos, the neighbors, that if that we go for that trifecta, that would be, that's a lot. That's very much kind of all in the same lane in a way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Is that good or bad?
I don't know. I mean, I'm throwing that out there, that I'm not sure, but I think they're all, in kind of in a similar way. Because I know what I know what you mean, Steve. I know what you mean.
Did we talk about all the artists at this point?
I think so.
You talked about all the ones within the 7,500 range. You did not talk about the two remaining 10,000 proposals.
Well, short of those somehow coming down to $7,500, I think they're out of the running, but am I wrong?
I think the way we set this up, right, that they would be out of the running then.
Should we do Chair Fung, should we do like a little straw poll of everybody's top two?
Sure, I think that would be a good decision. Close the door. So do you want to go first, Commissioner Burke?
Well, not really. I was hoping to go last, but since I started, I would have to say that my much as I do love City of Trees, I really thought that was cool and it touched me, but I'm not. I think it might be difficult to distribute that, to actually display it. I would probably go with I Heart South Pasadena, and damn it, I'm just gonna say it, the bubblegum colored ogre. Okay, there you go. I'm holding my ground.
Okay. But you can't say that to the artist, not an ogre.
The artist may be amenable to change, who knows?
Anybody else want to go next? We're still debating. It's hard. For me, for sure, the I Heart South Pasadena, like for sure for me. I would go with the reflexology, but again, I don't want to risk people.
Right, I know, that's what I'm feeling the same way.
So I'm torn between Jody Zellen and the trees. But I'm sorry, Commissioner Wong, I'm cheesy that way. Like, I just want the hearts. And I love that she's a local, you know. I'm a softie that way sometimes.
Steven's trying to keep us to a higher standard, but we refuse to go there. Okay.
I'm gonna concur with the hearts. I'm gonna go with the hearts. But I'm struggling with the third one. The other $7,500 one.
Are there two that you're weighing right now?
Well, yes, it's the reflexology sculptural one and the City of Trees.
Okay.
I guess it's me. Despite my kind of questioning the ability to execute it within the budget, I do like the reflexology one. Just being in COVID and just like trying to get out and be healthy and just try to self-care. And this is all cheesy shit. Sorry, I'm just recording. This is all cheesy stuff that like everyone's talking about. But at the same time, I think it would be great to have some public space and art that create something that is healing in terms of something like a reflexology installation done by an artist. So that would be one of my picks for the 7,500. And despite my questioning, like, where is the art? Does it fit this kind of scope of work that we're doing? Jody Zellen's kind of AR augmented reality piece. I'm interested in that. So that would be my number two. I actually, I think Jeffrey's a bad influence to me in this room, because I might have to say, if I did pick a third, it would be the ice cream monster.
I love that I'm a bad influence. Okay, I grew up in Hollywood, so that's probably what it's all about.
Like growing up on the West Side in Venice, like I love that the ballet clown.
Sure, in Santa Monica.
Yeah, it was
the
Venice,
Chai
Santa
building,
Monica on
yeah.
Main Street.
Yes.
And that was when I was younger, and I just loved, and that's also one-liner. So that's kind of that the ogre, the troll kind of reminded me of this something just completely ridiculous but fun. So yeah, that's my third. So that's how I rank them.
Okay, so just to report back then, with the 2 votes, some with you with 3 votes. There are 3 votes for the I Heart South Pasadena, which is the most votes out of all the projects that you guys discussed. And then there are 2 votes each for the reflexology, the Avenue S, the City of Trees, and the troll ogre.
Oh, still in the running.
So
Go ogre.
so at this point, if you guys are definitely going with Vecinos, and then because you guys had 3 votes for the I Heart South Pasadena, I don't know if you guys want to look at those 2 and then see if there's a third one that you want to pair with that, or if you guys want to just discuss the 4 other projects that are still in the running.
So for sure, Vecinos, and are we for sure I Heart South Pasadena? It got the most votes, right?
I think so.
So we're down to the third.
Okay.
Looking at the City of Trees again, I have to say again, I like the visuals, I like the concept, I like the association with South Pasadena. It's really a question of, and I don't know the answer to this, so I'm reaching out to you guys. Like, do you think this thing, we could really produce it and distribute it in a way that would fulfill a public art requirement?
Not with postcards, I'm sorry to say. I just don't want to see these postcards just everywhere and people like don't take them, you know?
I know ephemera is just something that doesn't seem very public arty. You know what I'm saying?
But then then the Zelen piece is pretty ephemeral, you know?
Well, very much so.
You have to have a
And
cell phone. So that leaves us with reflexology or the troll.
or the ogre, either way.
You know, Steve, I'm glad you said that about the clown, because I keep thinking about like, you know, like our community and so many people moved to South Pass, you know, that are families, you know, I mean, I know, but personally, that's why I moved here. And I think most everyone I know, you know, and this idea of like something that kids think super cool and they, you know, speaks to them. I mean, there's something to that, honestly, because, you know,
Are you
Just-
telling me you're voting for the?
no, I'm just talking out loud here. I mean,
You're starting to convince me.
it was a convincing argument to me, actually.
You're making me lean that way too, you know?
You know,
Yeah, why not? If we're gonna do it, let's
it's
just
super
let's just
whimsical.
do it. Let's just do it. Okay. What about we do that?
I say, you know what? It's
I kind of
fun.
like it.
Okay.
It's fun
Look,
and it's cute and it's not super serious. And maybe if we're doing the Vecinos thing, which is fairly, you know, thoughtful and serious. I mean, you know, the ogre is sort of the opposite of that, and maybe it's good to have a range. I don't know. I mean, I just thought it was fun.
So I'm totally down with Vecinos and the ice cream
Troll.
troll ogre. The artist is gonna hate us. But, and the I Heart South Pasadena. So I'm totally fine with that.
I really want to consider, even though I did list it third, and I was convinced to maybe list it as a number 3. I really want to discuss the reflexology piece. And, you know, if that, I mean, if we weren't concerned about the execution and the fabrication of it, would we be as kind of hesitant to vote for that? And then if so, could we put off a vote and maybe talk to the artists? And at the same time, like, you know, I'm trying to recall the proposal for the troll. You know, is that a $7,500 project? You know,
It's very doable at that price.
it's a smart artist.
It's, you know, it's very executable.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's no question about whether or not that's going to last or hold up or work. And I think, and I like the reflexology. I thought it was good, but I really think that you cannot put anything in the ground and not have that be a city liability trap.
So
You know?
hearing the interest that everyone has for the reflexology and the concerns that you guys also have addressed, one of the other things that we can do is just have you guys rank and provide that recommendation. And so then we can work with the artist and try to see if we can address some of those concerns. That might be another way to move forward. Plus, if something falls through, then at least we have a ranking to work off of. So if an artist decides that they no longer want to pursue this for whatever reason, then at least we have a list that we can pull from.
I do have another question about the feasibility of the reflexology piece by Eric Benjamins. Is that I know they're prevalent in Hong Kong and China, but they also don't have ADA standards like we do. And so I'm wondering if even the whole concept and it being in a public place could violate certain ADA standards, you know, because it's made to be walked on with your feet. But if you're in a wheelchair, what is that? You know, can you roll across it? You know, so those are some, you know, maybe there's a reason why we don't see those things. We see them in Asia, but not here in the States. So that's another concern I would have. Although I like the piece, we have to think through if it's one dangerous and if it's even would be ADA compliant.
As a public art piece, I don't know if ADA compliance is a component that we have to look into or have to consider, but that's definitely something that we can check with the city attorney on.
Yeah. But if it's made to be walked on, what happens if you can't walk?
Yeah.
or can't roll across it. I guess that would be another consideration.
Sure.
But yes, let's start, maybe that's something we could ask the city attorney.
It seems to me like that, yeah, I mean, that it would be walked on is unlikely, that it would be like some place where it would be like with a bench or something, you could rub your feet on it, something like that. I mean, I can't really imagine it would be too much of a liability just laid out somewhere.
I believe in the proposal, it did include seating, so 4 chairs or a similar sized bench was included in the cost estimate. So not sure how that fits in with the arrangement that he also proposed.
I gotta tell you, I don't see that happening for that amount of money. I mean, maybe it will, but you put a seat there that's got to last, that people are gonna sit on, that kids are gonna jump on, that doesn't have a foundation, I mean, a serious slab underneath it. I honestly don't see that happening for $7,500. I just don't.
I agree. I love the project. I really want it to happen, but not with this budget and safety issues. I mean, pouring concrete, creating a footing, all that. Yeah.
And yeah, it's right.
Honestly, if we had in another time, if we had a larger chunk of money, I think I would love to see that get put in at Garfield Park or somewhere. And I mean, I think it would be very cool to have. I just think it needs to be done right.
I agree with you. I agree, because it is really cool, and I like the sculptural aspect of it as well, and the health. It's a good concept, but I agree with you.
I'm actually fine. I mean, even though I'm saying, hey, maybe we could explore this, I'm fine if everyone really thinks, and I kind of agree too. I'm just trying not to convince myself that maybe we should just move on and not even bring in, a ranking, and not even entertain like a response from him in terms of budgets, and not even bring in the city attorney, to ask those questions. So I'm also fine with kind of just moving on too, if that's easier. Because it sounds like people are pretty confident that it's just not going to fly, and I think I'm there too.
Yeah.
Margaret, would all the applicants get a thank you letter? No. Okay, great. Yeah. So I think we have it then, no?
What do we have?
Have to say it.
Say it, Margaret, say it.
I can't believe.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but definitely,
Wait till I tell Lorraine.
And then number 2 was I Heart South Pasadena. And then number 3 is the troll.
Ice cream troll.
Ice cream troll.
Wait, what is the proper title again that the artist did?
He didn't
Come
provide
on.
one.
He didn't. Well,
No.
then we're giving him one. It's just gonna be ice cream troll ogre.
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 The
Okay.
ogre
Okay. The South
with
Pasadena.
a wart on his nose.
Okay.
I'm happy with those.
Okay, so these are the 3 recommendations that you guys are providing.
And everybody feels good about it?
Should we take a vote to title it, to wrap it up?
Yes. Anybody would like to make a motion for that?
I'll make the motion.
There you
I'd
go.
like-
Anybody second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, the mayor missed out on a really great discussion today.
Can I tell you, this has been one of the most fun meetings that we have had of public arts in the 3 years or however long we've been a commission. This is great. I wish we could do this every month.
We
We're
always
doing
have
public
fun.
art. It's so fun, right?
We always have fun. Great, thank you. I feel good. I feel like we all did it together, so. All right, so the last thing before we adjourn are the minutes from the December 7th, 2021 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Approve as submitted.
Second? Commissioner
Second.
Wong, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And with that, it has been an incredibly fun evening. Thank you all. And with that, I say we adjourn so you can eat dinner. And so Commissioner Wong can go home.
Right.
Still at work.
Do we'll
Yes.
see each other in a month? Is that right, Margaret?
Yes, so our next regularly scheduled meeting is February 23rd.
Okay, and so we'll kind of get an update on the progress, and then, because I still think it would be awesome to get, this kind of going for our, or have something happening for our big, South Pass event, whenever
The
that is.
eclectic.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's July, is that right?
No, that's
No.
in April.
April,
Yes.
something would be great.
Mhm.
I don't know. if
Which,
that's fast.
by the way, I am a little surprised we did not get a submission from Spark for these things, did we?
I noticed that too. Yeah, no, we didn't.
I find that surprising.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Hey, if you guys have any other ideas or comments, questions about the 3 proposals that you guys are recommending, if you want to send those over to me without CCing the full commission, that's definitely something I can also follow up on with the artists. Great.
Thank you so much, Margaret.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, everyone.
Thank you